Once again, welcome back to Stability e-learning platform. Again, you're going. The other time we had stopped on classification of joints, so this is a session 2. This is a continuation of the freely movable joints, session 2. We love you so much. Consider subscribing and turn on the notification bells for more and more information. So the classification of freely movable joints, we know that ball and socket joints, these are capable of movement in all planes, meaning in all directions. These bones can articulate in either 360 degrees, 80 degrees. When you twist your hand, you can twist your hand in any angle. That's what we call able to articulate in all movements, all the planes. For example, the hip joint, the shoulder joint can perform all movements, i.e. flex, extension, and so many things. So tend to find out this is the general structure of a ball and socket, whereby a socket is like it's a depression. You're seeing here, it's a depression, and the head of a femur becomes the ball that fixes in the socket. That's why it's called a ball and socket. And then we look at the hinge joint. This is capable of movement in only one direction or in only one plane, i.e. flexion and extension. That's the elbow. It moves in only one plane. We have the knee joint. We have the phalangeal joints. These are on the hands, on the fingers. So then find out the hinge is here. Look at diagram B, and then this is your elbow, notch of the humerus and semilunar notch of the ulna. Condyloid joints move in only one plane with the straight lateral movements. For example, the temporomandibular joints. I'm seeing this diagram A. You have the mandibular fossa, upper joint cavity, articular discs, synovial membrane, the capsule, fibrocartilage on articular surface, and the lower joint. In diagram B, illustration B, then find the lateral pectoral muscle located underneath, and then the forward movement of the disc of mandibular at the upper joint. This is the hinge joint at the lower joint. So these ones move in only one plane with slight lateral movement. In other words, these are examples. You find that the temporal mandibular joints, and on the jaws there is a temporal mandibular joint. Though we look at the pivotal joints, these are capable for rotation from a pivotal point. For example, atlanto-axial joints or the radio-ulnar joints. Biological word is called the atlanto-axial joints. In the layman's language, which is English, it's called the radio-ulnar joint. Hope you can see these diagrams. The odontoid process of the axis, this head. We look at the gliding joints. These are capable of lateral movement, side to side movements, e.g. the carpal joint. These are located on the finger, on the hand. These ones, if you turn the hand like this, the hand moves on lateral side to side. There is no moving up or down. It moves up and down, but side to side. Example, we have the carpals. Saddle joints move in several planes, e.g. we have the carpal metacarpal joints of the thumb, the right thumb, we have the metacarpal of the thumb, we have the trapezium carpal, and then the saddle. In the diagram you see this right thumb, the thumb, it's called, that's saddle joints, and the movement here is in several planes, e.g. carpal joints of the thumb, as the diagrams illustrate. Look at now the synovial joints, the major. This is the most common in the skeletal system, and a typical synovial joint is composed of smooth surface covered with hyaline cartilage, synovial fluid, synovial membrane, joint capsule made of fibrous connective tissue, and bursae and the related tendons and ligaments that attach the different muscles to the bones and to attach in the same place. So we have the bursae, small sac filled with synovial fluid between the joints and tendons. NB, most synovial joints are freely movable, implying they can move in all directions. An illustration of a synovial joint is this. We have the bone, the upper bone and the lower bone, attached by ligaments, by these bursae, joined from upper to down. We have the tendons. These are like muscles which make these bones to be in contact together. Then the articular cartilage. Cartilage is whitish in color. Most of you with meat, you tend to find that white surface. It's called the cartilage, and it's mainly found in the synovial joints. So joint cavity, synovial fluid which lubricates the joints to prevent friction. Synovial membrane which encloses the synovial fluid, and movement of the synovial joints. We know that flexation decrease the angle between the bones. Extension increases the angle between two bones. Abduction, movement away from the midline of the body, and then abduction, movement towards the midline. And we look at the rotation, movement of the bone around its own axis. Pronation, rotation of the forearm that results in the palm directed backwards. And supination, the opposite direction. Circumduction, circular cone-like movement of the body segment. So those are the main movements of the synovial joints. We look at flexation, decreasing the angle between two bones. Extension, I repeat, increasing the angle between two bones. Abduction, movement away from the midline of the body. And then adduction, movement towards the midline. Rotation, movement of the bone around its own axis. Pronation, rotation of the forearm that results in the palm directed backwards. Supination, the opposite rotation. Circumduction, circular or cone-like movement of the body segment. Look at the category, the type of description, the examples. Synaptoses, I told you synaptoses are immovable joints, and in the type of description, they are called the sutures, and they are fibrous connective tissues between bone surfaces. Examples: between cranial bones, between facial bones. These are found mainly in the skull. Arthrosis, slightly movable, and in the type of description, you tend to find that these are symphysis, disc of fibrous cartilage between bones. These are mainly found between vertebra. That's the vertebra, between pubic bones, whatever. That's your spinal cord, the vertebra. And arthrosis, freely movable, ball and socket movement in all planes. Examples of the ball and socket: we have the found at the scapula and humerus, pelvic bone and femur. We have the hinge movement in one place, and then the examples: humerus and ulna, femur and tibia between phalanges, and then condyloid movement in one plane with some lateral movement. These are examples: temporal bone and mandible. Pivotal rotation, atlas and axis, radius and ulna. Gliding, side to side movement. Here we look at they are found between the carpals, and then the saddle movement in several planes. This is a carpal metacarpal of the thumb. And the significance or the importance: certain diseases affect certain types of joints. For example, gonococcal arthritis affects large synovial fluids, i.e. the ankle, elbow and wrist joint. So tuberculosis arthritis affects synovial membrane of the synovial joints, and then they get the dislocations. Maybe the person has fallen down and the hand has twisted, gets a dislocation, the bone shifts from one place to another. So that's a very big challenge of the joints. So joint pain, obturator nerve supply, both hip and knee joints. Joints of the upper extremities. Articulated pectoral girdle. I think this diagram here. So in that diagram we see that sternoclavicular, synovial saddle. These all fall under sternoclavicular joints of the upper extremities. One, we have the sternoclavicular, and then underneath we have got, it's divided into synovial saddle, diarthrosis, and then two, acromioclavicular. This we got the synovial plane, diarthrosis, and then glenohumeral joint, synovial ball and socket, diarthrosis, many ligaments, and muscle reinforcement. Hope you're able to classify joints of the upper extremity. First, there are three. We have the sternoclavicular, which is divided into synovial saddle, diarthrosis, and then number two, acromioclavicular, synovial plane, diarthrosis, and then glenohumeral joint. This is divided into synovial ball and socket, diarthrosis, many ligaments, muscle reinforcement, and the great mobility. Once again, we love you so much. I'll add on next work very shortly. Feel free to subscribe, join the ever-growing YouTube channel Shabit Uganda e-learning. We love you so much. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, turn on the notification bells for more upcoming videos. Thank you very much.